I will be talking about taming the Moloch, and this is my direct experience because actually I work in a Moloch-like organization, which is something huge, complex, multi-layer, quite often multi-geographical, and it is so complex that it's hard to manage due to the complexity. And when you look from the outside, the Moloch has quite many beauties. It's the brand which everyone knows. It has thousands of employees. In case of PZU Group, including the agents, we have more than 30,000 people. It also has a multi-million customer database. So as a PZU Group, we serve something like 16.2 million customers every year. This is a potential, for an impact. And the last but not least is that Molochs usually have big budgets. I'm not talking about millions. I'm not even talking about tens of millions, because quite often it's in the range of hundreds of millions of investment every year. This is when you look from the outside. When you look from the inside, the picture is slightly different because it looks like this. There is a lot of politics inside, because the Moloch is like a kingdom with independent princedoms. There are continuous money, influence and power games, and due to the interrelation between the managers, there is a continuous fight of different priorities, continuous fight for budget or contradictory KPIs, or a fight between a business need and regulations. So let's see how we are taming the Moloch in case of PZU. I want to be talking about 3 best practices. First, the Moloch representatives. Second, the product owners team. And third, capacity buckets. Let's see the first one, the Moloch representatives. In case of a Moloch organization, there is normally dozens of managers, mid-level managers that run the company on a daily basis. So there is an obvious challenge: how to come up with a common backlog when you have more than 30 business managers. At first we thought of an obvious approach. Let's get all the people in one room. Let's talk about everyone's subjective priorities, and let's come up with a list of an objective, ordered and prioritized business needs. This very meeting was a very interesting social experience. Why? Because from the very first moment when the guys approached and they came for the meeting to fight their lives for their own priorities, the meeting was very hot. And it was one of the most spectacular failures at the beginning of the project. So we had to come up with a different approach. And the approach is, we nominated a business committee. Business committee is a set of representatives, so I would call them super managers, one out of each division. In this way, we are not faced with a need to manage everyone, but we just manage a few. What does it mean? That we have business super managers representing each of the division. Then, within the division, there is usually one VP managing it, so one big boss. And then, what's important is that they usually within the division have business priorities which are more or less coherent. And in this way, we are able, throughout the super managers, to manage tensions within the divisions and between the managers within each division. This helps very much when it comes to discussing big things about priorities, and common backlog. So our subsequent meetings on backlog prioritization were very much different from the first one, because they looked like this. Okay. Next topic I want to address is about the product owner's team. Once we were able to have a nicely prioritized, common and objective backlog that was prepared by business committee, we realized that many of the business requirements actually require a change across different systems. Because the IT architecture, application architecture is so complex that the end-to-end perspective was going throughout 5, 4, 7 different systems. So we thought, okay, we need to find a product owner. Actually, a very big brain product owner able to understand the complexity behind the architecture. So first, we looked inside of the organization. Then we looked outside of an organization, and after some period of time we realized that the only potential candidate is no longer available on the market. So we changed the approach, no longer looking for one big brain superhero product owner. We set up a team of product owners, each of them responsible and focused on a separate system. In this way, we have a team of product owners that work within a common framework, within the common boundaries, and we no longer need a single omnipotent product owner. Second thing is that our product owners are focused for each system, or in case the system is big, a module within the system. They are not focused on end-to-end product perspective, because this product end-to-end perspective requires understanding of multiple systems. It's not feasible. However, what's important is the product owners as a team are able to come up with a complex solutions and coherent solutions to even the toughest business problems. Then, what's important in such a setup, that a product owner has a good understanding of business context. It's a business expert. It's a person who needs to have own vision of how the functionality should be changing in order to support products and processes, so that we avoid a situation when it's a person that comes with a blank piece of paper and asking the business managers for their priorities. And what's also very important, it is not a subordinate of business managers. It's an equal partner for discussion, and quite often an equal partner for challenging business managers. The third best practice is capacity buckets. So, again, once we were able to have a single, common, nicely prioritized backlog of requirements that was defined by our business committee, we realized that even the most cultured group of people, which were the super managers of the business committee, when it comes to deciding what gets implemented when within the next releases, they have a tendency to demand more of the capacity than it's their fair share. So we again got attention within such a discussions. Our solution was, okay, let's avoid the side effects of these tensions, and these were so we have split the total capacity into a different sub buckets, smaller buckets. Each bucket was, as you could see, assigned to a different super manager representing a different division. In this way, within each bucket, the super manager had a decision power and full influence of what to do in the next release and what can wait. We at the same time manage the interrelation from the requirements perspective, looking at the requirements which were interrelated, and from the delivery perspective, so looking also on the capacity or within each of the systems. And in this way, we avoided a continuous tension between the managers, and we just have a big quarrel once a year when the buckets are being verified and their capacity is redefined. And it's very helpful that in such annual decisions, also the board members take part. And there is a safety valve. In case comes a business which says, okay, I have an urgent problem, I have a big business case, then it means this business has money. Once you have money, you can buy additional capacity for subsequent release. That's in this way you get the things done faster. So, summarizing, I talked about Moloch representatives being a team of business committee, super managers within the business committees. This is to avoid a situation when you are faced with managing dozens of managers, which is totally unfeasible. Second, I talked about the product owner's team. This is the way to avoid a situation when you look for one single superhuman product owner. Such a person just does not exist. The third thing is capacity buckets. This is a solution to avoid the tension when it comes to splitting a big capacity. In our case, it's more than 30 Scrum teams, so quite a capacity, and to avoid the tension on this decision time. So, once you heard how we tame our Moloch, I hope that after the conference, once you go back to the work, you start taming the Molochs that you have at your companies, sometimes well visible, sometimes quite hidden. Thank you.